Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. My name is Duff McDonald. Thank you for joining us. It is Saturday, February 1st, the beginning of a new month. Let's just make this the beginning of the year, okay? Let's forget about January and just start with February. This is my birthday month on the 7th, so I'm so happy to be sharing that with everyone. I have this new podcast called In a Conversation With that you are privy to today. And I'm so happy to have one of my all-time favorite people on the planet, James E. Hibbard, also known as Jimmy, to join us. And we're going to talk about his new book, Can't Stop Dancing. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Duff McDonald, as you can see. Thanks for joining. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please do. I'm a singer, actor, dancer, a singer, songwriter, dancer. Now that we're talking to Jim and I've seen all of his clips, let's put dancer maybe on the non-existent part, because I've watched some of James's musical clips from some of these classic Hollywood musicals, and the man is incredible, like one of the greatest talents. And I'm so happy that we're here today to celebrate that. For any of you who are just joining, you can also chat with us. You can ask questions during our interview. There's no time limit on the interview unless James has to go, but we're just gonna go and see what happens, and hopefully James will give me a big wink to end the interview. But we've got a lot to talk about. So James is in Penticton, BC, and he is joining us. I'm going to bring in James now. Ladies and gentlemen, James E. Hibbard. Oh, hold on. Little technical difficulty. There we go. Hello, Monsieur James.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you? Happy February.
Well, no kidding. And it's bright and sunny today. And our new place overlooks the lake, Green Lake, and it's completely frozen over. It's very cold.
Really? Now you're in British Columbia, Canada, right? You are in the interior of BC. Penticton, did you say?
Yeah, it's called the Okanagan, and it's we're about 20 kilometers from Penticton. We're up on the mountains, actually.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. How long have you lived there, James?
Since April.
Oh,
we just moved.
Brand new.
Yeah,
okay.
We sold our place in North Vancouver and bought this place with my son and his intended.
Right.
So we have this big house on the hillside, and
that's the life.
Boy, it's crazy.
How are you adjusting to the being in the country as opposed to the big city? I mean, North Vancouver is, not too crazy, but you're still dealing with traffic and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, but I'm a country boy anyway, and
That's true.
And the foliage, and the trees are the same as the foothills around Boise, Idaho, where I grew up.
That's right.
And
So
it's beautiful here.
It's nice, probably after all this time, to come back to that life that you once knew, right? It's a full circle moment.
And in truth, I mean, in Vancouver, it takes me at least a half an hour to get from my home downtown to teach at Harbor Dance, and about 45 minutes to get to Jennifer Bishop's school rhythm room.
Right.
And here it takes me 20 minutes to get to Penticton, where I'm about to start some classes, adult tap classes at a place called Balance School of Performing Arts, and I'm looking forward to that.
So I would love for people to know how, first of all, why this is happening, why we're having this conversation. I've known you, and I didn't know this. I went back and I looked at some of my files, and we've known each other. I first met you in 1988, 37 years ago, James.
This is the blink of an eye.
It's insane. It's insane. And the things that I didn't know about you shock me, because I don't know. I guess that I took, you meet people and you take it for granted uh the weight of the person. Like I didn't really realize in my earlier years in the mid 80s what I was really, who I was surrounded by and who I was working with. I mean, and now I look back and I see all of your credits and I see all the clips of you in movies and television, and I'm sad that it's taken me 40 years to realize that, that you are the person you are. But I think you and I just connected on a very real level. We were just two working people who came together. And so for those of you joining us, James directed and choreographed a production of Little Shop of Horrors that we did at Theatre Under the Stars in Vancouver, BC, which was really high quality production for something that was like, I guess you called semi-professional, James?
Semi-professional, yeah. It's the open air theater, Theatre Under the Stars in Stanley Park. One of the only ones left,
Right. So at that time, how long had you been in Vancouver?
Oh, probably about, well, I've been in Vancouver since 1971.
Okay. So you had been there.
71, I moved there, and there was no work. There was no television dancing. There wasn't anything happening. So I did some various things to make some money, and then I met Bill Millard, and that started the whole career in Canada.
Right. And Bill Millard ran the local Arts Club Theatre, which was the main theater-based professional theater in Vancouver. And at that time, from what I remember, that was the time of MacGyver. That was the time of Johnny Depp and the what was the name of the series?
What was it? High school thing of it. But the MacGyver series, that was great fun. And I got the chance to choreograph a production number starring Terry Hatcher on the MacGyver series.
Wow.
And we did a whole big production number on there. She was wonderful.
Terry Hatcher.
All of my dancers up there. Yeah.
Right. And Terry Hatcher went on to do Lois and Superman and Lois, right? Wasn't that part, which was also shot in Vancouver?
Yes. Yeah.
And I worked with her on a TV movie out here, which is like full circle. You and I have these like connections with these different people. So then you were doing theater. So you did Little Shop of Horrors for the Arts Club then.
The very next year.
Right.
There was a crazy thing that happened. We my stars for Little Shop were you and Colleen Winton.
Yes, right.
And James Cronk.
Oh, yes. Oh, Susan says 21 Jump Street. That was the show with Johnny Depp. Right?
You're right, exactly. Well, the Gypsy Awards got excited about the show and the performances and actually nominated all of us for awards. And then said, "Oh, we forgot. You're a semi-pro company. What? We can't do it."
So they rescinded?
It was nuts.
Oh, no.
It was nuts.
But I guess
in some the very next year,
in some sort of offhanded way, it was a big compliment, but that's too bad that it had to be taken back.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was like yeah.
It's like a date with somebody who it's like the worst.
Well, I got to tell you, your voice of the plant is the best voice I've ever heard for the plant. Without question.
That is
never lie, that's for sure.
That is the nicest compliment. Thank you so much.
Not only the voice, but it was it's like some people like you. I don't feel I even direct at all. I mean, you know what it was all about.
Yeah.
You brought everything to the character, and you brought it alive yourself. It was like I just said, "Okay, well, you know what you're doing. Just go do it." Okay.
Right. Which for me, which is kind of bizarre because I was only a few years out of high school. Like that was 88. I graduated high school in 85. I had only been in Vancouver. I know it's crazy. I'm sorry. I had only been in Vancouver, so I don't know. Like it's kind of like you when I look back on your history, and I read first part of your book. Uh, how you just happened into things. You just had an innate sense of how things were done, and you were surrounded by people who really knew, the way things were done. And I think I was like a sponge like that. I took on certain qualities that I knew what it took, and to this day, well, working with people like you, uh, you learn right away that it's just like no nonsense. Let's do it. Boom, boom, boom. It's very clean cut, and such a good lesson for young performers. And I
Yeah, I'll
remember
say.
that about you. You came in fully prepared. You knew exactly what you were doing, and what a great lesson for all of us. It was a big cast too. That was like
Yeah, really
30,
big. Great
30.
orchestra. We had a good orchestra, a good set
Yeah.
design, and a great plant. And also the operator of the plant. He was one of the dancers. He was
Yes,
very good.
that's
Yeah.
right. Well, yeah, I am so grateful, James, that I had that opportunity to work with you, and then I went away. Susan, who is our sort of go between right now, She's helped you with this book, right? And launching the book is
From the very beginning, 7.5 years ago,
right.
Susan has been helping me edit, helping me everything related to the book. She's been there and done it, and now she's organizing the interviews and promoting the book. So she's my book manager, my PR manager.
It's
Yes,
amazing.
she's been an absolute gem. She's a hell of a performer herself.
Yes,
She also directs and produces, so she's very
complete.
talented.
She's always had her shit together. Susan is one of those people who is fully contained, got everything is coordinated. I learned so much from Susan. Her and I got hired on Princess Cruises together in around 92, was it, Susan? Somewhere in there. So not long after I met you. And we went on to work on Princess Cruises headlining. And
Um,
again, it's like there we found ourselves surrounded in Hollywood, like you, in LA, surrounded by Peter Matz, who was Barbra Streisand's
yes.
composer and arranger on the Carol Burnett show. And we had all these Carol Burnett people around us, and Bob Mackie did our costumes. And
Oh,
so
Bob
it's like,
Mackey, I know him well.
I was going to say, did you ever meet Bob Mackie? Did he ever
Oh, yes, we're friends.
suit you up?
Yes.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Oh, many times, many times.
That's
You know.
incredible. Did
Yeah.
you ever work? Well, you obviously, I looked at your credits. You've obviously worked on a lot of those early shows like Jack Benny and the variety shows. Uh, um,
Yeah. Well, so many TV shows that I've done down
yeah,
there. Um, he was costume designer for,
right.
and we were all our friends. We all sort of worked together. I lived in my wife Charlene and I,
Yeah,
who also was a great performer. We lived right in West Hollywood, right in the heart of West Hollywood, and the people that we see on the street were like Sonny and Cher and Billy Gray from Father Knows Best, and you see all the actors. It was an acting, dancing, melting pot of community, and it was
right.
this is the way it was. We're all struggling. We're all trying to get ahead.
Yeah, that was the community at the time, right? That was just.
Absolutely,
And
yes.
I see that so many of your connections, your early connections. I don't want to ruin the book for everyone with all the great stories you have in there, but I really want to entice people like to realize, and some of the younger generation, that it is all about connections. Like it's all about who you meet. I see that you have certain through lines in your career of people who connected you to another project, and then you went to an audition, and that project connected you to a movie. Like it's people
Yes.
need to realize that, right? That's a great.
Well, in Hollywood, I mean, in the not only in Hollywood, in show business here, It's a big business, but it's also a very small business in the terms of people who work hard enough and keep their goals in mind and forget negative and passive crap takes you to bad places.
Yeah.
Your attitude is a big thing.
Yeah.
If you have a good attitude, you're going to attract like-minded people.
Exactly.
And those people who if they want to do a show, they want you in their show because you're not going to cause waves. You're going to do the job, of course, but you're not going to be a problem at all. You're going to be a plus all the way through.
They want to know that they can work with you, right?
Absolutely.
Day-to-day basis. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great lesson for people. And I was always told that the minute you walk into an audition room, the people behind the desk want to know that they want to like you. They right away. It's up to you to entice them, right? And like show them that you're the person for the job.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I've been to so many auditions, and dance. And I really love auditions. I get a real kick out of them.
Do you really? Yeah. To this day, James?
It was Rusty Frank is saying.
Oh, Pete Menefee.
Pete Menefee says you are the most positive person he's ever known. Pete Menefee was a dancer, actor, and I worked with him in several films and projects.
Yeah.
And every time I would go down and recently, actually in the last 15 years, and visit Pete and all my dancer chums that I worked with. We used to go to the Professional Dancers Association event at the Beverly Hilton. It would be hosted by Mitzi Gaynor and Dick Van Dyke, and they would honor 3 or 4 gypsies with their body of work, like a lifetime achievement award.
Right.
And we all get together. So I was at Pete. Shar and I were both at Pete's house one night having dinner. And another friend of mine who's now has done wonderful things in directing and choreography, Walter Painter, were there, and his wife is named Charlene as well. But
wow.
But Pete was saying at the table, said, Jim, you were always so positive. Everybody wanted you to be in their show, and he said, when God was giving out the jaded gene, you were homesick. And just
that's great. What a great.
That's about it. That's about it. My brother used to call me Pollyanna, and I've been that way my entire life.
Where do you get that quality from, James? Your mother, your father?
My mom, for sure.
Your mom.
Yeah, my mom, my first and everlasting angel. She made it possible for me to have a chance to realize my dreams. If it was up to my dad, it wasn't going to happen.
So just to give people an idea, you were in Boise, Idaho, in dance class in Boise, Idaho. Did your mother have a say or play a part in getting you to LA, to Los Angeles?
Well, again, this is how the story begins.
Okay.
And I don't mind telling it. My dad was a logger.
Right.
We lived in about 2.5 hours outside of Boise in the woods, in a logging camp.
Wow.
And my mother loved movie musicals. So she would take my brother and I to Boise to see movie musicals.
Right.
And the first one I saw was Singing in the Rain. Second one I saw was American in Paris. And she said after that show, we came out of the theater and I tried to emulate Gene Kelly.
Yeah.
Tried dance down the street. She thought I would like dance lessons. So she enrolled me in the only school in Boise at the time was Lillian Winger School of Dance.
Probably the only school in Idaho.
Could be. But now we lived in a logging camp. So how was this going to happen?
Yeah. How did you make that happen?
This is a wonderful, magical story because it's so. On Friday night, my mother would drive the 2.5 hours, drive me to Boise
Right.
I would have my dance lessons Saturday and Sunday, and then go back to the logging camp for the next week. But I had to practice. So my dad and my grandfather pulled 2 logs into our trailer area and nailed some planks across the 2 logs,
Come
and that
on.
was my practice dance floor under the trees out in the woods.
My God, that's incredible, James. The fact that your father would do that even, that says something really, Was he supportive of your career through
Well,
all through it?
I mean, he paid the bills for sure, but
Right.
he was not in favor of me dancing,
Yeah, well,
and it
my
was
dad too, yeah. That generation, they just don't understand.
no, he wanted me to be a logger and work in that business like him. But
Of
when it
course.
came, my teachers, when I was 14 years old, my teachers came to me, and my dad and my mom said, "You have to take him somewhere else for further training,"
Right.
because
They saw
they
the
were going
potential.
away. They were
Oh,
going away and learning new stuff and brought it back to teach me.
right.
Right? But they said I was learning it so fast. Said take him somewhere.
Yeah,
Well, it was either New York or it was going to be Los Angeles.
right.
And New York was out of the question, and LA was out of the question in terms of my father. He didn't
Now
want me to
why
go at all.
why was New York out of the question, James? Because that seems like a logical dance
It was too
destination.
far. It was too
Oh,
far away
okay,
from
okay.
Boise.
Right,
LA was closer. My mother
right.
was
And they could drive you there.
she would take me anywhere,
Right,
but my father didn't want me to go. But my mother made it happen,
right.
and my mother and I got on a Greyhound bus
Oh, you
and took off for LA. And I was going to start dance lessons at the Louis Dupron School of Dance. Now, Louis Dupron is a famous choreographer, great
mm,
dancer, and great tap dancer. He
right.
was the guy. He was the go-to guy that would post record taps for all the stars.
Oh, okay, so like an overdubbing of the
Yeah,
tapping
because
for a
at the
movement.
end he would go in and overdub the taps.
Wow, that's
Because
hard.
you know, I'll tell you about that a little bit later because it is one of the most difficult things to do.
I bet.
So anyway, he wasn't there. Louis wasn't there, but I auditioned for his teachers there,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
they worked out a schedule for it. And then I was only going to be in LA for 1 month. That was it. My father said, if you're not a star at the end of 1 month, you're coming home to be a logger.
Right.
So I didn't have much pressure. So anyway, yeah, we came out of that. I auditioned for them, and they laid out a program, and we didn't have enough money. My mother said, we don't have enough money for this."
Yeah.
And we called dad. We were going to go for lunch. And he called my dad, and dad said there isn't any more money.
Wow.
So
Did
we're
like,
walking
on
up.
purpose he said that?
Huh?
On purpose he said that because he didn't want
Well,
you there.
well, yeah. Well, he only had a budget, so that was it. So we continue walking down. This is on La Cienega Boulevard, which is
Right.
a big boulevard.
Yes.
And just before the corner of Beverly Boulevard, there was a placard on the street saying Gene Nelson teaching tap and jazz. And
Gene Nelson,
Gene Nelson was the star of the movie Oklahoma,
Oklahoma. Right, right, right. Oh my gosh,
playing
that's
Will
incredible.
Parker, right?
Right, right,
So
right. Yeah.
I went into this school. I said, "Mom, let's go into this school," because he was an idol of mine already.
Right.
And I auditioned for the owner of the school, and the owner of the school was Nico Charisse. He was married to Sid Charisse,
Whoa.
and
Whoa.
so Nico, in a lot of ways, saved my life. But anyway, he gave us a program, he said he gave me a ballet scholarship. I wouldn't have to
Yeah.
pay for that for the month.
Right.
Just pay his guest teachers. Well, his guest teachers was Gene Nelson, first of all. So Gene Nelson, I obviously became my mentor and
Yeah.
teacher, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we crossed the street, and then for lunch. There's an Al Rexall drugstore there.
Oh,
And we
yes.
go in the Al Rexall, and my mother's saying, I don't know how we're going to do this. We don't have enough money, and Dad is not willing to pay any more money.
Is that kind of like a
We go-
Schwab's,
Yeah,
James?
exactly. We
Okay.
walked in, turned right to go to the cafe, and there was a sign there saying waitress needed.
Oh,
And my mother walked up and got the job.
your mother got a
And that's
job?
and that's how we had enough money to pay for my lessons for a month.
She really
Yeah.
believed in you. Like, she was really, really, like, trying to support you on that dream. She obviously saw your incredible potential, right? Like, that that says a lot. I mean, I've heard other stories like this, like, Anne Hathaway and her mother, same kind of thing. They
Mhm.
stayed in in their car, they camped in their car, and I mean, that's true love. Now I understand why. Yeah, I understand why you are the kindest person on the planet.
But see, all the way along, all the people that stepped in saved my bloody life.
Well,
We went
yeah.
back. We went back to at the end of the month. My dad flew down to get me.
Oh, he did.
He said, "Are you a star?" I said, "No, I'm not a star. I hadn't even worked yet." Right?
You're like
So
14. Weren't you
he said,
14?
"We're going home." So we went back over to Nico Cherise's school to pay the bill.
Yeah,
And Nico stepped in and he said, I think this young man has a chance in the
right.
business. He said, I have a home just close to here. And my wife and my young son, uh, Jim will be welcome to stay with us and I'll take care of him.
Right.
And of course, he'll continue training. So, so he saved my bacon there.
Yeah.
And so that started a whole process of me staying at Nico's house 6 months and then going home to Boise for 6 months until
Well,
I
what
graduated from high school.
Right. Now, I don't want to spoil because I know that a lot of this history is in the book, and I want people to read
Yeah.
about it. But what a dream that must have been for you, because Sid Charisse was in Singing in the Rain, right? And American in Paris.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
And
they were divorced at this time.
right, but still, you're working with her husband. Like,
Yeah.
you're learning from the core of what you grew up
Oh,
with.
Nico, great teacher. But
Yeah,
the neat thing about it, they were separate. They were divorced, and she was
right.
married to Tony Martin. She lived up in Beverly Hills, up in the big
Gotcha.
mansion,
Right,
and Nico lived in a modest home on Norwich Avenue.
right.
And but I became best friends with his son Nick that he and Sid had together.
Ah,
So
okay.
I was staying, you know, up at Sid's house
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks. Then I go back down to Nico's house, and it was just it was a crazy life. So
Well, yeah, and you were surrounded by the best of the best. I mean, you can't get any better than those teachers, right? Now I get why. And so, James, so the book is autobiographical, right?
yes, yeah,
It's literally your
chronological
story.
from start to finish, where we are now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I see the book has some incredible photos too. I was leafing through it, like pictures of Marilyn Monroe and like you at the Academy Awards, like incredible shots, like dance shots of you like you're so young. You're like 14 in your teen
Well,
years and doing all these amazing things.
that was my first job, and it was Gene Nelson that sent me to CBS to audition for his ex-wife Miriam Nelson, who was choreographing the series.
See, there you
And
go.
and
Connection.
then and actually, what was wonderful recently is uh, at this I mentioned the Professional Dance Association event in Beverly Hilton Hotel.
Mhm. Yeah.
Miriam was there, and she was 83 years old,
Whoa.
and she remembered me, and it was a great reunion. So I asked her how she was doing, and she said, "Looking for work."
Like everyone else. We all
Just
are still looking
just
for work.
crazy, yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I have to say you do stick out, James. Like when I watch some of those old movies and the clips of you, uh, you really do stick out. You had a very unique look. You have, you're so damn cute in everything you did on the Danny Kaye show, and for those of you who don't know, James was in Hello Dolly with Barbara Streisand, and as one of the waiter dancers, in which that's one of the most iconic dances in Hollywood musical history, is the waiter dance, right? I remember when Susan and I were on the cruise ship, I did a show, I can't remember if Susan did it, called Bonsoir Paris, and the waiter dance was in that show, and I was like, what the hell? This is the first time I had ever seen it. What the hell is this? How are these dancers doing this every night? And I watched you do it, and James, like, how incredible that must be to have been a part of that with iconic Michael Crawford from the Phantom of the Opera and Barbara Streisand. Like, did you have a hard time learning that? Was that right in your wheelhouse at that time?
Yeah, I've never. Yeah, almost my training at Nico's school was. I mean, not only that, but starting in Boise, I had great basic training, and all my training, I learned many different styles of dance.
Yeah,
it wasn't just one. So tap was my first love,
right?
But almost all the movies that I've done in Los Angeles and Hollywood, it's mostly jazz and musical comedy dancing.
Yeah.
I only tap danced a little bit in Gypsy, in the movie Gypsy.
Right. Oh,
but a lot of my performance tap was in Las Vegas and Reno and Tahoe.
I want to just show everyone watching here. Just I can't show any clips for copyright reasons, but I can show you. This is James in the waiter dance. That's you with the beard, right?
Yeah, it's Michael Crawford in the middle and Gary Mentira on the other side.
So for those of you who don't know or do know, Michael Crawford was the Phantom for many years and was on a very famous BBC TV show. I think Are You Being Served? Is that right?
I think so, yes.
And then, of course, this is all of the waiters.
That's the last note of the waiter's dance.
Right, the major number. And that's you.
That's me, just above her right hand.
Right, with the beard, of course. Yeah, actually, you're one of the few with the full beard.
Well, I got to tell you, working on the film, I worked on the film for 11 months. So,
wow,
I went from like this full beard to just mutton chops to a clean face, depending on what dance we were doing.
Oh, okay. So you played multiple different characters with. Oh, so they changed your look for each number.
Now, this picture here you have here, see the dancer to my left?
Yes.
His name was Alex Plashert, just a spectacular dancer. He was one of my teacher mentors, right there.
Ah, okay. Where did you meet him through the studio, through that same studio?
He taught it at Nico's school.
Ah, okay.
That's where I met him, and he took me under his wing and taught me.
Was that? I seem to have read a story in your book about they used to have like a showcase, like a theater in the studio where you would do, and someone was standing at the door one day. Can you tell people that story, James?
Well, at Nico's studio, he was there was in the back of the building. There's the main ballet studio,
right?
And it's street level, and it's a big studio with a seats for people to sit and watch the class. And then it faced a stage, a raised stage, with a curtain across it. And behind that curtain was another dance studio that you would enter from the other side.
Right.
And you would have recitals and different shows from time to time. And you just open the curtains and there's a full big stage. Right.
Right.
And I got to tell you, one of my tap teachers at the time, his name was Maurice Kelly, who was a personal choreographer of Ray Bolger.
Oh, wow.
For the Wizard of Oz.
The Scarecrow. Right.
And, I got to perform with Ray Bolger on that stage for this all the students and parents and whatever. We did. I got to do Me and My Shadow. Of course, I was the shadow, and it
You
was
danced.
and
You
he was
danced
lovely.
with
He was
Ray
a
Bolger.
lovely man
That's
with Ray Bolger. Yeah.
that's amazing, James. Okay,
Who would
I'm
have
gonna
thought? You know, just to,
right. This is the thing. Well, this is the thing. Susan and I too. Like we were reminiscing the other day, and we are like, one day we were learning our shows for the cruise line, and they said we have a special guest coming in today because the one of the producers was, represented a lot of big stars, and they're like, this woman's going to come in and watch one part of our rehearsal today. Who walks in but Rosemary Clooney? And Susan and I sat there. We didn't sit there. She sat there and watched us perform this big medley of tunes. And that's the kind of thing, like, you must have so many memories of stuff like that that just kind of happens. And you're like, what is happening right now? I'm like, you're in the right zone, right? When stuff is just clicking, it's like kismet.
Well, I'll tell you another little story. I was working on Lucille Ball's show called Here's Lucy, and I did about 8 of her shows that I danced on.
Wow.
And sang.
Jeez.
And one day, Mel Torme is the guest star.
Yeah.
And Mel Torme had written this. Huh?
I was just scatting. I love Mel Torme's scat singing.
Oh, no kidding. But he wrote a song for that episode, and he was playing it. He was playing it for us because we all as townspeople had to sing it, right? And he said, anybody just jump in and sing if you want to. It's very simple, easy. Well, he heard a couple of voices that he liked. And one was me, and one was a girl.
Yeah.
And my normal thing to do is I go into harmony. And he asked the two of us to go to his recording studio in the valley and record the song for the show. And so I got to record that particular song with Mel Torme. But it just happens, right? It just happened. You're there, and it just happened.
Right.
So, also on the show was John Bubbles, the legendary tap dancer. So I still do a couple of his steps.
Right. Well, I hope that people will go on YouTube and search you out, and Facebook too, because there are a lot of clips of you in some classic and iconic movies and roles, and just awesome clips of you performing that I think people, once again, if for those of you people who are just tuning in, the reason we're here is because James has this book, Can't Stop Dancing, coming out, which is an autobiography of his story from the beginning up until recently, right, James?
Yes. It came out December 20 something.
Right.
Just before the end of the year, they launched it. And
people can get it on Amazon, right?
Yes. But I want to tell you just a little preface here.
Yeah.
One of the people who said something recently heard about Pete Menefee her name was Rusty Frank.
Oh, yeah.
Rusty Frank is the person that suggested I contact Bear Manor Media to publish my book. And she started that whole thing with Bear Manor Media for me.
Well,
and she's a dancer, dance historian. She has her own swing dance club in LA, and she's an absolute beautiful friend. And I met her and we had a photograph together at the Professional Dance Associates event. And the song, the Mel Torme song, she's asking what the Mel Torme song is.
Yeah, she's actually listening right now.
It was, I don't know, something like a dance. It's just like a city USA, like something USA. It's a little town.
Oh, okay. Oh,
It was just for the show. It wasn't one of his recorded songs that he sang.
Right. Susan and I should know that because we did a whole medley of 50 states medley. We should know these, but
it was
so
written just for that episode, and it was
right.
something USA. It was a small town USA, something like that.
She said, "My pleasure, Jimmy. You're always such a support to me. It's such a delight to help you." And that's like what it's all about, is people helping each other. That's, that is what that's how it all happens. And to this day, even, right? Because you're still going, James, like you're still going at it after all these years.
Yeah.
Like, how many years now has it been that you, like, since the beginning?
Professionally? Well,
Yeah.
since 14 to now, and it's about 3,000 years. No, I'm 81, and it's 67 or something like that.
Wow, you look so
And
great,
uh,
James.
oh, thanks, man.
You
But I
look
still am performing, and the wonderful thing up here, I've done a lot of work in of course Canada,
yeah,
and recently I've done like two movies for Kenny Ortega,
right?
Descendants 1 and 3, and he
So
loved
when you
me and my work.
so Kenny
Hmm?
Ortega was Michael Jackson's choreographer, right?
That's right.
And
Yes, he was.
among
Yes, he
many
also
other things.
choreographed Dirty Dancing, the film Dirty Dancing.
Right. That's iconic. So were you a choreographer on Descendants, or were you in the movie?
No, no, Paul Becker,
Oh
a
yeah, I know
dancer
Paul
friend of
Becker.
mine.
Yeah. I did
I
Music
performed
Man
with,
with Paul Becker.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
excellent. He's become a big force, and
Yes.
anyway, he was a co-choreographer on those movies because
Okay.
Kenny Ortega always wants to be co-choreographer,
Yes.
and so then he had me on Julie and the Phantoms. I 2 episodes of Julie and the Phantoms where I was featured as a janitor, and I danced. I tap danced on that,
That's
and
great.
then I did Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. I
Oh
danced
yeah.
on that time, and
Yeah.
the two of those, and um, series of unfortunate events. I did one of those,
Oh
and I did
wow.
The Last of Us, which I
Oh,
didn't
that's
dance, but
one of my favorite shows. I love The Last of
I
Us.
was on The Last of Us. I was an infected creature.
Oh, the virus infected
Yeah,
people. Yeah, they
yeah.
use a
And
lot
Paul
of
Becker brought me into that job.
oh, he did? Okay. Yeah, because they use a lot
Yeah,
of dancers for those type of movies, right? Where there's zombies, because you have to know how to move a certain way, and
yeah, and timing and being in a certain place, certain time, that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And then I've also done Grease, The Rise of the Pink Ladies.
Oh
So
yeah, right.
all these shows. I'm dancing with babies
You're still
because
going at it.
everybody's younger than I am.
Yeah. Yeah, but if they only see, this is the thing. If I only knew all of the things about you because with the internet now, when I first met you, there was there was no internet.
No,
So
no.
it's easier now to find out about people, to know more about their history, to go and
Mhm.
research, find these clips of certain people. And so I hope everyone who's watching or listening will go and search out these certain. I want to give you some names, James, and I want you, just to give me your thoughts on each one of these people,
Okay.
what it conjures in your mind. Well, we already talked about Kenny Ortega. Have you ever, what about Michael Bublé? Have you had any crosshairs with Michael Bublé? Because I know he's from
Well,
Vancouver.
yeah, Michael Bublé. I was at the Arts Club Theater,
Hmm.
and I was choreographing Dames at Sea for him.
Right.
And there was a girl named Debbie Timmis who was the star, you
Right.
know. So
His
her
girlfriend. Oh,
boyfriend was Michael Bublé.
right.
So Michael Bublé would come into the lounge, and he would and sit with us. When I met him then,
Yeah.
and he was we became such friends. I mean, he's has a gregarious personality, and he's so cocky, and he's sure
Yeah.
of himself, and he should be.
Yeah.
But that was before he even became a star at all. And
Right.
he also did a show there at the Arts Club Theater as an actor singer.
Right.
And so that was my only time that I met him, but it was over a period of time. So he was lovely, actually. I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. We laughed a lot. We did a lot of laughing.
He's a very funny guy. I met him way back then too, and he was quite
He's a
funny.
funny guy. Yes.
Yeah, he's got a great sense of humor. Okay, so we already talked about Barbra Streisand. Tony Basil, who I don't know for those of you watching, Tony Basil in the 80s had a big hit pop tune called Oh Mickey. Oh Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey Mickey. But she has had quite a career way back to the 60s, right, James?
Tony Basil and I was Tony's assistant choreographer on
Right.
a zillion jobs.
Yeah. Wow.
And I love Tony Basil with all my heart, and she truly helped further my career. Not only did she get me working,
Yeah.
but it was she was a visionary.
Right.
She's way ahead, always way ahead of her time, and she was such a good dancer. Besides that, in all forms.
Right.
And she, when we did the pilot for the TV series Where the Action Is for Dick
Mm-hmm.
Clark,
Mm-hmm.
the series sold, and that was the last thing that Tony Basil wanted to be associated with, was a TV series.
Right.
She didn't want to be doing it every week. She likes doing new things, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
she sold me to them as the choreographer. So I became the choreographer of that TV series, and that was really furthering my career in a big way.
Yeah. And
But
this
I've
is like
been,
in the 70s, right?
yeah,
Right.
yes. No, this was 1965.
Wow. Wow. So
Right?
she had been going at it for so many years. And then
Oh
so
yeah.
when you saw her have this huge pop song in the 80s, you must have like been, I mean, because that's a hard right turn into something completely different.
Yeah, but she's also the person really responsible for bringing breakdancing or street
Oh,
dancing mainstream. She was
really?
the one that saw that there was a, a big business there, and a
Right.
big thing to do. And she discovered the group called the Campbell Lockers, who were the
Uh-huh.
first locking group.
Right. Like popping and
And
locking.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that
And
was well. There's great stories in there in your book about that too, right? Well, we
yeah,
won't spoil it for everyone.
no,
Okay, I have another name for you, and I watched this clip today, James, and you look so beautiful. You look so. It's such a beautiful role. Julie Andrews,
oh geez, oh geez, Julie
slash
Andrews
Mary Tyler Moore.
and Mary Tyler Moore and Carol Channing. I say all those names, and James Fox. It was thoroughly Modern Millie,
Right.
and
The movie.
Julie was just lovely. She didn't associate much with us dancers,
Yeah.
but she was beautiful, and she could dance. This woman could dance,
And
and
you
but
played the groom in the Jewish wedding scene,
yes,
right?
yeah,
Amazing.
I got to tell you, it's a great story.
Please
It's a
tell it.
great story. I mean, just the way things. When we talk about the way things happen, being in
Yeah.
the right place, the right time,
Yeah, tell us
doing the right thing.
how you landed it. That's what I wanna know, how you landed that.
It's crazy. Okay, we're already into rehearsals
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks, and one day I'm on my way to rehearsal, and of course the LA freeways are sometimes like a big parking lot, and
Yeah.
you can't move at all. And I was late. I was late like 35 minutes to
Right.
rehearsal, and I came into the sound stage, and the whole cast is on the other end of the sound stage, and the director and the producer and the choreographer and all the people are facing them, and
Right.
all of the dancers are lined up, And I run across the sound stage, and I'm apologizing profusely. I'm saying, so sorry, I was caught on the freeway. And I went up to the end of the line, and they said, "You're the one."
What?
That's how I got it.
What?
And of
You
course,
got it because you were
I
late?
know. I get late. I come in the end of the line. I stand there, and they went, "You're the one." I went, "One what?" And they said, "The Jewish groom. We want you to be the Jewish groom." Now, also the other day, they're picking different roles for the dancers, right?
Yeah, right.
Now, the other dancers that I talked to afterwards, they said they could have killed me.
Right.
They
Oh,
said,
yeah.
"You son of a," and he walk in late and get the job.
Well, that's such a great number too, James. I didn't realize that you were the dude in the whole number. Like, you are the groom, and you look so stunning. You're such a great looking kid, and your blonde hair, beautiful. You had a big old head of hair. So that's that. And Mary Tyler Moore too was in that scene with you, right?
Oh, Mary Tyler Moore. Mary Tyler Moore and Carol Channing,
Yeah.
being the gypsies that they truly are, would join us in the commissary for lunch from time to time.
Oh, wow.
And
Just sit
and
down
we'd
and
sit at the same time. I would sit straight across from Mary Tyler Moore, and to my right was Carol Channing, and we would talk and just like gypsies.
right.
They were fabulous people. And
Yeah.
P. Lilly, oh my God, these
They're
people,
just
and Jack Spoo,
right. Just
crazy,
human, just
great
normal everyday
people.
people. Right. Well, I think the biggest stars are the ones who are the kindest and the most real. Like, people talk about what Robin Williams was like, and I saw him actually on the uh Tonight Show, not the Tonight Show, the other one that got canceled. The Late Night with David Letterman. And you could see how different he was off camera when he wasn't, and he was so
Mhm.
gentle and so nice and so kind. Like, it's, that's, I think, the sign of a true star is they don't have anything to prove, really. It's just like you're just doing it.
That's the truth. People who achieve some status and aren't really massively talented
Yeah.
build things around them to protect them, and they whatever. But
Yeah.
people like Julie Andrews and Mary Tyler Moore and Carol Channing and Tom Jones and Frank Sinatra and all these people that I've worked with, they
Yeah.
just want to talk.
Yeah.
Everybody wants the same thing. They
Right.
want to be respected, and they want to be loved, and they want to love, and
Yeah.
and they want to. I mean, Tom Jones. I did his TV series in Vancouver. He's most happy when he is smoking a cigar, drinking a little champagne, and telling jokes.
We used to
And
make
I
fun
did
of him.
that. And I did that a lot with him.
Well, that's
But
amazing.
they have no axe to grind at all. They know they're very talented, and they have
Yeah.
nothing to worry about. So
Yeah. For everyone watching, there are some incredible, like, that's just a tip of the iceberg of all the stories James has and all the people that you've worked with. There's like Elvis, Ann-Margret. We won't tell everyone all of the great details, but there's such interesting stories, and it all is like flowing in and out of James's life, and it's just wonderful. So once again, I'm going to say the name of the book is Can't Stop Dancing. And Rusty helped. Oh, yeah, there it is. James has actually got the real deal.
yeah,
So is there an audiobook of that, James, on Amazon, or have you done
that's
the
the
audio?
plan. The publisher is going to produce it for me.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Because I started listening to the epic Barbara Streisand book, and it's I still am not through it. It's so huge, but she's added audio clips in with everything, and it's really
Hmm.
it's really a great way to like sit and listen to someone, and you get to hear, if you do the audiobook, you get to hear your voice, and it really helps you relate to the stories and stuff. Like, so James, couple last things. What advice, now that you've been through all of these incredible experiences in your life, what advice would you give to the younger generation of performers? Or actually, you don't have to be a performer, just someone who's working hard at what they truly love. What advice would you give to people?
Basically, I mean, like for instance, when I never planned anything, stuff.
Right.
I never said in 5 years I'll be doing that or whatever. I never planned in there. I just went out and did, and I kept doing, and it just kept going. And it was
Stay true to yourself.
Absolutely. You have to learn as many things as you possibly can learn. You don't stick with one thing, because it just well, if you know a whole bunch of things, you'll work more.
Yeah.
If you know one thing or two things, you work less.
Right.
And it's just basically that. And it's your attitude has to be bright and cheerful and full of hope.
Yeah.
You can't get bogged down in any of the garbage that can come your way and set you off your track.
Right.
So it doesn't matter whether you're in show business or whatever your special way of doing things is that get up, get out, thump and bump.
Oh,
because all the alternatives stink.
I love that.
So
that's great.
And work hard. Work harder than you ever thought you'd work.
Right. And you've trained a lot. There are a lot of people who are naturally talented, but I really think knowledge is power. Like, the more you had a lot of training, you were like a sponge gaining from all, and you could see it in your dance too. You could see it in your style. Like when you're moving, you could see the Gene Kelly in your moves. Like it's so obvious you were taught by the best of the best.
Well, Gene really liked my dancing. We're the same height. And he gave me a little cameo to do in one of the Dancing in the Park.
Oh,
and it was he was very sweet. And I not only that, but I got to dance with him one day on the set, and it was on a break. And he and Alex Splasher, one of my teacher mentors, Jim Hutchison, and two other tappers. Gene wanted to do some line dancing, so Gene would start a step, and then the next one they would have to do the same step as best they can, and went down the line, and then we came back up the line as well, and then who was watching us do this is Louis Armstrong and Barbra Streisand.
Oh, jeez.
Louis
was in Hello, Dolly, right?
Yeah, he was in that. They do that cameo bit with Barbara,
right?
And they were sitting and watching from quite a ways away. And when I dance and I perform, I sweat like a stuck little piglet. They're always mopping me down,
Right.
And, Louis Armstrong called me over to him. And he said, "You're a great dancer, Jimmy, but you sweat a lot,
That's so great.
So he said, "I sweat a lot, so I carry a hanky."
Yeah.
He said, "Why don't you carry a hanky?" I went, "I can't. I'm in the costume. That's not part of the costume." But every time I dance and perform now and do my tap solos and stuff, my trademark is I have a hanky in my hand. I carry it with me.
I actually saw that today. I was watching a clip of you tapping, and you had a.
It's on the cover of the book.
It's
on the book here. That's the hanky there.
Oh, Jake, come on. That's incredible, James.
Isn't that great?
All because of Louis Armstrong. Like, who can say that, James? Who could say that? That's so incredible.
I wanted
So
to make sure I didn't. I don't want to forget. Not. I don't remember if I mentioned Bill Allman helped me with my book in the beginning as well as Susan, all along the way. He had written a book. He owns famous artists, and they do the BC Entertainment Hall of Fame event every year.
okay.
He has written a book or two, and he helped me in the beginning as well. And
Like
he was doing what he
compiling
could
the
to
material?
assist me. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, if you wanna shout out to anyone, please do, so Bill helped you in the
Okay.
early
Yes,
stages,
I
Susan
do.
yes, please do, because that's what this is
I
all
mean,
about.
of all the wonderful people I've worked with, including yourself, is that
Mm.
two of my dancers, I can, no, I'll put it this way: two of my angels in
Yeah.
my life
Yeah, you talk about that a
are
lot.
uh, are Jennifer Bishop, who
Yeah.
owns the Rhythm Room, um, Pam Rosa, who was Pam Quick,
Oh, from
one of my
Harbor
dancers,
Dance. Right,
Harvard
right, right.
Dance.
I remember her,
Yes,
yeah.
I've only been teaching for Pam 38 years. So, and then
So
I've been teaching for Jennifer since 2004, and
right.
it's we're great friends, and she's just and these people are angels, angels. I have a portion of my book where angels never to forget, and I list everybody I could possibly remember,
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
because who
Yeah,
were inspired me or helped me along the way.
yeah.
We can't. Here's another message: is that you can't do this alone.
No,
You
ask
need
what you
people
need,
to help you.
right? Yeah. Is
And
never
along
be
those ways,
afraid to ask.
those people are your angels,
Yeah,
and you have to honor them
yeah,
and keep them in your heart and your mind because they deserve it. Because
exactly.
you can't get there by yourself.
No, don't take it for granted. You wouldn't be where you are without those people who, your first dance teacher putting you in his home and helping you out and giving you money. Like that's what you wouldn't be
Mhm.
here without those people, right? And same thing for actually Michael Bublé too. Was coddled all along the way. People helping,
Yes,
helping. So many people.
everybody,
Yeah,
everybody
everybody.
gets a helping hand. You
Totally.
know, and
So
that's the whole thing about my book.
yeah.
Now, I want to say is that, and there's a song in the book that I wrote because it's my message, it's my life, my mantra, is
Mhm.
that gain your successes and enjoy them, but don't forget to turn around and help the next in line.
Yeah.
And that's my passion now for until doomsday.
Yeah. Which could just be around the corner because of the US.
Oh, geez, don't get me started.
Okay, let's start it. Yeah, exactly.
No, my USA has gone right somewhere else.
I wanted to ask you quickly, I just thought of this. How did you end up in Vancouver? Because, I never asked you that. I don't know if it's in your book, but, I
Yeah.
wanted to know how you ended up there.
Well, back then, and there was the production every year, the Vancouver International Festival, and it had
Okay.
several different shows. There was on the main stage, there was in the lounge, at the Playhouse, and also at the Queenie Theater.
Right.
Mhm. Well, Hugh Pickett,
Oh,
who owned a famous artist then,
yeah.
he and the director and choreographer came down. They were doing a production of West Side Story,
Right.
right? In those years, you had to do the original choreography, Jerome Robbins' choreography, or you
Right.
couldn't do the show.
That's right.
So they came down and hired several of us from LA. My friend Walter Painter, my other friend Anita Mann,
Oh,
Gus Draconis, who was in the film and
uh-huh.
the play, Susie Kay, who was in the
Ah,
movie and the play,
wow.
and we were brought up to do West Side Story at the Queen E, and that's how I came here in '64. That's 1964.
Jeez. And you fell
But
in love with
also,
the place.
that's when I met my wife, Charlene.
Charlene.
At that time, it was Charlene Brandolini.
Uh-huh.
She, I got to tell you, just a little thing.
Yeah.
We're in rehearsals for 2 or 3 or 4 days,
Mm-hmm.
and all of us seasoned performers from LA, we're working together. We know each other, and we're working hard. And fortunately, Gus Draconis and Susie Kay and another dancer named Bobby Thompson were in the original West Side Story, so they knew all the Jerome Robbins choreography. They're the ones that took over the choreography, and in walks Charlene Brandolini, who had just flown in from Montreal.
Yeah.
And they want her to do the role of Rosalia and sing the ballet, Sing Somewhere.
Right.
So she comes in, takes her coat off and her hat off, and our conductor was Lawrence Foster, who was also the conductor of the LA Philharmonic Orchestra.
Wow.
He was our conductor. He played for her. He sat down and played the song. She sang the song, and we were standing there, all of us, expecting, a voice, a person.
Yeah.
Well, we also stood there, and when after she finished, there was no sound, and all of a sudden, one person goes, and then pretty soon it exploded. It was so beautiful and sung so beautifully. Wow. I knew from that moment that was the girl I was going to marry. And she was starting to leave the room afterwards, and I walked over to her. I said, "Excuse me, but you sing real good."
Did you say to her, "You're the one"?
Just like this country boy, right?
Yeah.
Now we rehearse. We rehearse for 3 weeks, and we have a 3-week run.
All right.
1 week in Seattle and 2 weeks here.
Oh.
And the closing night, after the 6 weeks of knowing Charlene, I proposed.
You really, James?
Swear to God. And we got married that year, and we're still together
ever since.
Now, this year in October, we will be married 61 years.
Wow! Congratulations. That is so romantic, James. I mean,
that is really cool.
To add to the list of your incredible life, that is like the topper, that's just, and that was actually near the beginning of your career. Like, you
Absolutely.
Still had many years to go after that. You had shared that with beautiful Charlene. That's like how great of a life that is, and Vancouver was so lucky to have all of you incredible, like some of the original people, and they didn't know what they were getting.
Jeff Hislop and Susan Anderson, and I mean, just all these wonderful, and Winston Reckert. And,
from Neon Rider.
Yes. Just, I mean, it goes on and on. There were some great performers, and we were lucky to be involved with them.
Yeah. Well, James, I won't keep you any longer. I think you and I could probably talk for 2 years. Like,
yeah, I've got a whole bunch more I could talk with you about.
Yeah, right. And I do have one last question for you.
Sure.
Who was the one person who inspired you the most in your life?
Who inspired me?
Performance-wise, and then
performance-wise, Gene Kelly.
Gene Kelly. Okay. Yeah,
Gene
can see that. Right. And
he was the one who inspired me to dance.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess the first movie you saw was Singing in the Rain. So
yes, and then American in Paris. And I wanted to do what he did.
And you did. And you did, James.
I have done it.
It's
I'm blessed. And plus I'm blessed because I can still dance. I don't have knee trouble or hip trouble.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends aren't dancing,
Right.
So I'm very lucky. Very lucky.
Yeah, you took care of yourself. There's a lot of people who hadn't done that, who didn't take care of themselves, or just bad genes. But like you know, I mean, I'm so honored that I got a chance to work with you, and that I took it for granted at the time. I knew you were great, like you were iconic in our community, but I didn't know the scope of it until recently. And it's this is why I wanted to do this, because I think everyone in Canada and the US and globally should know how this happened for you, who you worked with, and how you made it happen. You know, it's such an important story and journey. Like, I think it's
Well, thanks for
commendable.
doing this, Duff. I really,
Yeah,
really appreciate this.
you're welcome.
This is icing on the cake.
Good.
You know,
Me
this is
too.
very lovely. It's lovely of you to do this, and I, of course, enjoyed. I love you. There's no
I love
problem
you.
about that. And
I love you too. And we're so interconnected. It's kind of boggles my mind with all the people that we share in common. It makes me feel like I relate to everything you say, because it makes me feel like I'm on the right path, because I've honored all those people in my life before, and still do. And that's the key, is that we honor and stay true to those friendships, like Susan and Jen and all our people, right? Um,
mhm.
well,
Can I just tell you a little about that?
yeah,
There's we come across moments. There'll be moments along the way where at the right time someone will come up to you and say the right thing or do the right thing for you, that reminds you that you're on the right track.
right.
And one of those times was I was tap dancing. I was in the show in Las Vegas, the Phil Harris act, and
Mhm.
Phil Harris was married to movie star Alice Faye,
Oh,
and
yeah,
she's a
Alice.
beautiful star.
Yeah, right.
After the show one night, she was in the audience, and she came up on stage and walked right over to me and took my face in her hands. She says, "I can see it in your eyes. You're going to do big things." I mean, just out of nowhere.
Wow. That's
You know?
incredible.
And that's
Wow.
how it is.
Yeah,
Out of nowhere, some angel will show up and help you get to where you're going.
yeah.
And that was one of those moments.
Guardian angels, they're there to guide us through. I totally believe that too. You know, our parents too. Our parents are there guiding us through everything. Like, they may like you, my dad didn't really support me, but when the moment I could see the moment shift, like in your life, where he completely accepted. He was like, "Oh, he's going to be fine." And I think they just want us to be fine. That's all people, our parents really want. I just want to know that you're going to be okay and on the right path. And you have been and are, James, still to this day. I hope you keep hoofing it, and you keep getting out there and
I
self-taping
love
as
doing
we
this.
do. Me too. So once again, everybody, James has a new book. If you're just joining us, "Can't Stop Dancing." It's available on Amazon, and hopefully soon at Audible, at Amazon Audible as well. How do we know how much it is, James? What? How much does this? Other than, what is the price of your book? Do you know? Maybe
Well, I think this one that I have here is a paperback.
paperback.
It's some 40 or $41.
Right. Totally worth it.
The hardback is, I think, 52 or 53
Okay. And both are available on Amazon, right?
on Amazon. Yes.
Amazing. Well, thank you, James. I'm so honored that you joined us, and thank you for everyone joining us too. I just want to run through some of the final comments here. Susan Scamp, James Hibbard was a lot of fun to watch. I don't know who Coffee Party is, but maybe you do. Thank you so much for joining us, Coffee Party. And
I
Rusty, of
also want to
course.
congratulate you. I want to congratulate you, Duff. You're always working. You're always going forward, which is the only direction. And you're going to go back on the cruise ships and do your show there again. So
Yes.
congrats for that.
Thank you so much. You know,
Mhm.
it's kind of like I'm almost 60, and I thought I should keep doing this while I still can, like you know, I still have all
What
my
what age
limbs.
did you say you were?
60, almost 60, 58.
Oh, that's the age of my left leg.
What about your right one?
Oh, way older.
Oh my God, my spleen is 35 and my hip is 80. Got
Oh
the
yeah,
heart of a
I think my
20-year-old.
hip is about 102.
Right? Well, I hope we get to work together at some point. You never know.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be
you
it?
never
So,
know. That's
right?
the whole thing. There's a beauty of this business. You keep going, you don't know what's going to happen,
No.
and then it's always exciting. It's never work.
No, never.
That's the next thing.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Susan, for joining us too. Susan's such a force. We will be making a movie next, she said. And love you
Yeah,
both.
we're working on a documentary movie.
Yes. Oh my God, you have to. That's just juicy. It's all too juicy to not make, to show people, first of all, the clips, and then hopefully interview a lot of these people like Rusty that's still going, and a lot of your friends, right? So yeah, sooner rather than later. Get on it, Susan.
Thumping and bumping. That's what
Yeah,
we do.
bumping and thumping. Well, thank you, James, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us as well. Really, really appreciate it. Share this post, share this YouTube video if you know people that would enjoy all the stories, and go out and buy James's book. Can't Stop Dancing. He can't stop. Love you so much, James. Thank you so much.
I love you too. Good luck, man.
Thank you. Break a leg. Break your other leg.
Break many legs. There we go.
Have a great year, James. Thank you so much.
And you too.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.